mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi Accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacu. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0722 mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788 cyangwa se 0788 mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. Umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.
Hello dear student, this is Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI. Me, I'm called Patrick Shimwe. I'm a trainer in automobile transmission and control system technology. Today we are going to discuss on a module called suspension system. The session of today, it is the types of wheel suspension. But before we go on with the session of today, let's take a remind on what you have seen from our last meet. First of all, we have seen different functions of suspension system, the purpose of suspension system, and what is a suspension system. Suspension system, it is a system which must support the weight of the vehicle and give a smooth ride. As the purpose, we have seen that it controls the vehicle height, means this wheel and this body of the vehicle should not meet. Even the space from here, the body of the vehicle, and at the ground must be supported correctly. This is a suspension system who have a task of doing that action. About function, we have seen that also suspension system will help in cornering ability. And when you are going to make a corner without suspension system, your vehicle will get out of the roads. Then come up with the session of today as a types of wheel suspension. At the end of this session, a student or a learner will be able to describe the types of wheel suspension, differentiate the types of wheel suspension, assembling, disassembling, and mounting, and checking of McPherson strut as one among the types of wheel suspension. Then, about our session of today, we have three types. What we call independent suspension, dependent or rigid suspension, and what we call semi-rigid or semi-independent suspension. By starting on what we call independent suspension, it is a suspension system in which where the wheels on one side will not affect the wheels on the other side. For example, if this wheel get a shock, there is no need that another wheels will get a shock when it is on independent suspension. I think you get well. But on dependent suspension, or what we call rigid, when one wheel on one side, for example left side, get a shock or hit a bump, another wheel on right side also will get an effect from the left wheels. This is what we call dependent or rigid suspension. On semi-rigid, as the name implies, it is semi, means it is no longer completed. It is no longer independent or nor rigid, means it is between there. The shocks on one side, for example, on this left wheel, will get on right one, but on a certain degrees, means it depends on the weight of the shocks. Then let's start by independent suspension. On independent suspension, you can have front independent suspension and rear independent suspension. On front independent suspension, we can use, for instance, what we call double wishbone, what we call McPherson strut. At the rear, also we can get what we call McPherson, it can exist, or what we call multi-ring suspensions. This is on independent suspension. Then let's take a look on McPherson strut. We are going to disassemble. First of all, we have to check if our McPherson strut is working properly. There is no other ways. When you see this is your vehicle, you have to shake. When you are shaking your vehicle, you get that it make up and down. The more the turns of this vehicle increase, it means the shock absorber there it have a problem. Means you can make, it cannot make twice or more than. Then, if you get that your suspension system, here I mean McPherson strut, have a problem, you have to disassemble and replace what is damaged. So let's start. Before you to remove this McPherson strut, you have to remove the tire, then open the bolt. It has 3 bolts here inside the vehicle, which is fixing the McPherson strut. Then other part is fixed here on the wheel hub. So let's start. We take a tire wrench, then we open our bolts by order. You know that you have to use close by opening your bolts so that the wheel cannot be broken. After removing those bolts a bit, you have to jack up your vehicle. To jack up my vehicle, I will use this jack, yes, so that the vehicle get up in order to remove the tire properly. You have to remove the bolt by making a cross so that it cannot be locked. After removing the bolts, you have to keep away your tire. This is my McPherson strut I'm talking to. Means here it is where it is fixed on its up down, and here inside the vehicle it is where it is fixed by upside. Let's start by here inside the vehicle. We will use, most of vehicle use 13mm spanners. So let's take a spanner here, which is 13, and try to open those bolts here. You try to open the bolts. Remember the order of opening your bolts. Do not open the bolts, however, or in such order without using a correct order of opening. Then after removing those bolts, you have to remove also those one. You remove this first bolt and the second one. Then you start by pulling out your. Yes, we have done from our work. So let's take a look first on the part which make up our McPherson strut. From the top, this is what we call a nut. You can call as a center bolt. Please do not open this bolt while you are not supporting this coil spring, because it can cause injury. This is what we call strut mount. Means it is the one which will fix this strut on the vehicle. This is a shock absorber. Here we have an insulator for noise insulator. Also we have, this is a coil spring. Then this is a strut mount. Then this part is called lower spring seat. This one is called upper spring seat. You get here, there is a hole. Means the head of this spring must fit in this side so that it can not moved while a vehicle get a shocks. Then let's show you. Normally we open this by using what we call spring compressor. But there will be the time that you will not have that spring compressor. There is a manual methods that you will use to open this one without getting an accident. So let's try. Then you try to tie this part like this. You tie this coil spring. At the same time, you make this bar like this. You tightly tie this bar. Then, before to compress this, you have to release the bolt from here. This, let's check. This bolt is 19. Let's take a socket of 19. Then you tie your spring by turning more times so that it get compressed. You try to rotate hardly. Then when you get it is enough, you will need to fix it like this. Then you turn another side with the same method. You take your cable, you take your bar. Let's tie firstly like this. Then you put this bar inside here. You tie tightly. Then you start rotating this one. Yes, after finishing, you have to tie this rigidly so that it cannot jack up. Now you see your coil spring is moving, means it is able to be removed. Let's open completely our bolt. But to be sure that this coil spring is fixed well, you can tie this part on, or you can use your feet to take it correctly. Then you completely remove your bolt. You move your strut mount, then your spring can now be because of rust, your spring can be hard to be removed. Completely removing your bolt, you put aside, then you remove this upper spring seat, then you freely removing your coil spring. If it is coil spring which is damaged, you can put away, then replacing by a new one. If it is this shock absorber, it is not repairable. Here inside, we can have what we call nitrogen gases or hydraulic fluid. Inside there are the valves. When this moved down, the valves will open in upward motion so that the oil will fill here at the top. Even when it is going to move up, it make the inverse. The valves will open downward and the oil will come up from the top side to the bottom one. The failure of this shock absorber, it is when it can move downward and fail to move upward. This is the first failure. Therefore, you have to replace because there is no remade. Even this coil spring, you cannot weld this one. If it's broken down, also you have to replace. Then after replacing a damaged component, you will also reassembling those parts and try to put again on your vehicle. So those bolts must fit in the holes here inside the vehicle so that you will fix the bolts. Here it is where it will be fitted. Then you look this. Those sides are not equal. Means there is from this to this bolt there is a short distance, but from here up to here there is a big distance or a larger distance. Means you have to look also the shape from here and comparing to the shape from here. Then after checking, you will insert your bolts here. Then you try to insert this again. After fixing the upward bolts, you have also to insert again those bolts, downward ones, then put their nuts. Then you have done with this one. You have to insert again your wheels. Let's jack up the vehicle. Put again your nuts. Remember the order of closing the nuts. Insert this one. Then if you have done, you will finish your work of replacing this one. Let's talk a bit about where do come McPherson strut. This McPherson strut was developed from this what you call double wishbone. All those one can be used on front, and this one can be used on front as well on rear. You see here it is called double wishbone because they have this upper and the lower one. Then this McPherson strut was developed from this double wishbone, where this upper wishbone was replaced by these damping rods, where we call it shock absorber. Then this is the part of a front suspension, where we have upper ball joints. We have our control arm, the lower one. We have the coil spring inside here. On the double wishbone, we have coil spring and shock absorber, but we don't have this design where we combine strut assembly within a coil spring. It is the difference. So this is the end of our session of today. I hope everyone can check if suspension system on McPherson system is working properly. It can remove it and able to replace a defected component. So next time we will continue our session by looking what is going on rigid axle and semi-rigid axle. Thank you for your coming.
Mubyeyi urifuza guteganyiriza umwana wawe ejo heza, gana mu mashuri ya apejerwa ariyo Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI hamwe na Emeru Intwari. Muri Lycée de Ruhango-IKIREZI tubafitiye amashami akurikira: Culinary Art cyangwa se ibijyanye n'ubutetsi, hari level 1, level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Food and Beverage Services tubafitiye level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye kandi Accounting cyangwa se ibaruramari level 3, level 4 ndetse na level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubukanishi bw'amamodoka mu byiciro bikurikira: Auto Engine Technology level 3, Auto Transmission and Control System Technology level 4, Automobile Transmission and Control System Technology level 5. Tubafitiye n'ubwubatsi Masonry level ya 3, level ya 4 ndetse na level ya 5. Tubafitiye Tourism ubukerarugendo level ya 3, iya 4 ndetse n'iya 5. Turabibutsa ko tubafitiye n'icyiciro rusange Tonkome. Naho muri Emeru Intwari tubafitiye amashami y'umwaka umwe akurikira: Automotive Technology ubukanishi bw'amamodoka level ya mbere, Hairdressing ubwiza no gutunganya umusatsi level ya mbere, Tailoring ubudozi level ya mbere, Masonry ubwubatsi level ya mbere. Muri aya mashuri yombi tubafitiye abarimu b'inzobere harimo n'abaturuka hanze y'igihugu. Tubafitiye kandi n'amacumbi y'abakobwa ndetse n'ay'abahungu. Abanyeshuri bacu bakora ingendo shuri mu gihugu ndetse no hanze yacu. Tubaha umwanya wo kwimenyereza umwuga mu bigo bijyanye n'ibyo biga. Dukorera kandi graduation abanyeshuri basoje amasomo yabo. Aya mashuri aherereye mu mujyi wa Ruhango hafi ya gare. Ku bindi bisobanuro mwaduhamagara kuri 0788366219 cyangwa se 0722356668. Mwanaduhamagara kandi kuri 0788366213 cyangwa se 0788222282. mwanadusura kuri website y'ishuri www.apejerwa.ac.rw. umurimo ukozwe neza utuma batugirira icyizere.